Hey everyone, welcome once again to the Romano Report Podcast. Today is Tuesday, January 20th. As I am beginning this live stream, it is 3:39 p.m. Boy, I'm pissed. Can I begin that way? Yeah, a little pissed. Hold on, I'm trying to get situated here. Didn't do much prep before I jumped online here. Yeah, I'm pissed about a lot of things. I'm pissed at what this orange criminal buffoon is doing to the country and to the world. I'm pissed about a car situation right now. Maybe I'll tell you about that. Hello, Buffalo. I am. Yeah. I'm pissed about a car. But I'll tell you what I'm most pissed off at: the American people. That is what I am most angry about, because the American people did this. They chose to do this not only to our country, but to the world. Of course, I didn't do that. And I'm sure most of you watching this, whether on the live stream right now or afterwards, as it stays up on my channel and you are able to view it later, I'm sure most of you didn't vote for this. And if you did, and you now realize your error, well, I'm glad that you did. And you might get, if you're one of those people who voted for him and have seen the error of your ways, and you may be truly sorry for what you've done, that's good. But you might get a hostile reception from those of us who didn't and tried to warn you. I will try to be gracious, because I know how important it is to convince people to wake the hell up and admit that you made a mistake. But there are a lot of people out there who are not going to be very welcoming to you. So understand that, because there was no reason to have voted for this guy again. We can make allowances for people in 2016, I guess. But after that, there's no excuse. And certainly after he lost the 2020 election and literally tried to overthrow the friggin' republic, and then you vote for him again, sorry, no excuse for that. But whatever, I guess better late than never. I don't even know if that's true anymore. Maybe at this point it's so late it doesn't fucking matter. I don't know. But today is the 1-year anniversary of this criminal piece of shit taking office again. And he held a press conference. Awesome to see you live. You really keep me sane. Thank you. Vibin' Jivin'. Nice handle name there. Let me say something. The reason I'm reading that is because, you know what? I'm doing this live stream to keep myself sane. I've been doing the podcast for a while, not nearly as often as I want to, because it takes a lot of work and you got to dedicate a good chunk of time to do it. And I just haven't had the time. And that's one of the reasons I've decided to start doing this podcast as a live stream, because I don't need to do as much. First of all, my prep is minimal anyway. Let's be honest. Most of this is just off the cuff. But I don't have to do any editing later on. And I don't have to do the upload process and all that shit. I basically press the button to go live. It records the thing. I'm done. And the video just lives on my channel. And it's a lot less time commitment. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing the podcast. I think this is going to be my format. I'm just going to do it live, because I'll be able to do it more frequently. And so there's that. It just takes less time and effort. The other thing is, I need the therapy. All right. This is a therapy session for me, in part. Me being able to come here and rant and being able to read the comments. And I see people are leaving comments right now. I appreciate that. Really not looking at them too much right at this moment. I'm going to turn to some questions here in a little bit. but it allows me to interact with you. We can share our frustration and our anger together, and really is therapeutic for me. As you know, if you've been watching me for a while, I tend to go on rants. I get a little worked up now and again, and quite a few people have said to me over the months, Romano, I'm worried about your health. You need to calm down. I'm worried about your blood pressure. You don't need to give yourself a heart attack. You know what? If I didn't rant and vent, I think it would be more likely that I'd have a heart attack. All right. Or that something would happen. This actually, I come on here or I do a video, I put it up, I rant for a while, and then I feel better. I get it off my chest. And there's something even more therapeutic about doing it on the live stream where I can actually interact with you guys. But yeah, so that's my plans for this podcast. So you guys are my therapists, I guess is what I'm saying. You're my therapists. We'll be each other's therapists, all of us here in this group discussion. Me and all of you in the comments section. So, by the way, I've noticed I have the microphone on my desk. I'm looking to get a new microphone so that it's disconnected from my desk. I have a webcam set up that's not connected to my desk or my computer. It's standing on a tripod, doesn't touch my desk because I tend, I'm Italian, so I talk with my hands a lot and I hit my desk a lot subconsciously. I'm usually not aware of it, and it would shake the camera. So I dealt with that, but still I have the microphone issue. And I tend to bang my desk still. So I'm looking for another microphone. So just know if it's annoying, I'm aware of it. Can't fucking help it at the moment because it's, it's how I do. Anyway, so what I'm really pissed off at is the American people. It's like, I hate this piece of shit with the white hot intensity of 1,000 stars. I hate this motherfucker. But on some level, it's like I can't even be mad at him because he is what he is. He is an evil, sick, twisted SOB. I think he's truly evil on the one hand, and he's seriously mentally ill on the other. And someone left me a comment earlier today on a video I posted on the Romano Report and said, stop calling him mentally ill. Stop talking about his mental deterioration. He's evil. And it takes away from the fact that he's evil. I think both can be true at the same time. And I don't think it detracts from one to point out that they're both true. I think they're both true. So he is what he is. He's evil. He's seriously fucked up in the head. He enjoys inflicting pain and suffering on other people. He's just a horrible human being. But this is why, I said a few minutes ago, those of you who may have voted for him, even if now you realize your mistake, you're not going to find a lot of people who are going to be very welcoming because all of this was known. This is not a surprise. This is why I differentiate between 2016 and the two subsequent elections. You can make allowances for a certain degree of ignorance in 2016. He was still a scumbag. And there was all kinds of reasons, if you were paying attention, to realize he's a scumbag and would make an awful president. But he hadn't yet been president. We hadn't actually seen him as president. And a lot of people said, oh, it's just an act. When he gets in there, if he gets in there, he'll be more serious. The seriousness of the job will overtake him and he'll rise to the occasion. That most of the way, the horrible behavior, it's just for show. It's part of the act. No, it's who he is. But I can see how maybe some people hadn't been following him for all that long. A lot of people don't really follow politics day to day. They tune in at the end, right before the election. They say right after Labor Day is when everyone really focuses in. And if you didn't pay much attention, you only paid, half-assed attention at the very end. Maybe you didn't really educate yourself well enough of who this piece of shit is. But there's no excuse anymore. He's been president. We saw what a disaster that was. We saw that he was he committed crimes. If he wasn't reelected, he would be in prison right now, likely for the rest of his life. So there's no excuse. Anyway, it's like I almost can't be mad at him because he is what he is. It's like those fucking idiots who jump into the fucking lion enclosure at the zoo. I'm sorry, I'm never angry at the lion, right? It's a lion, you stupid fuck. What are you jumping in there for? Nobody would be surprised when you get mauled to death. You shouldn't have gone in there. Same thing with Donald Trump. We all know what he is by now. And so my anger is not so much at him as those people who friggin' voted for him, knowing. And there's no excuse for not knowing at this point, or when you voted in 2024, or even 2020, but it's even worse, obviously, in 2024. So it's the American people who voted for this. I knew it was going to be bad. You knew it was going to be bad. I don't know. I don't think I knew it was going to be this bad this quickly. And I can only imagine how much worse it's going to get. And I think it's going to get a lot worse. And I'm trying to put myself in a frame of mind where I'm never surprised anymore by how bad it is. Like I said, I knew this was going to be bad, but it's even worse than I thought. I mean, we're seriously on the verge of invading Greenland. This is seriously a fucking thing. Insane. Anyway, this moron has been in office now for a year. Today is the 1-year anniversary. And so he held a press conference. I didn't watch it. As you see, I already have an anger issue here. I don't need to fucking watch that thing. I watched a little of it, however. Put it on for a little bit. And he was already in the middle of it when I turned on the TV. Turned it off, did some other stuff, turned it back on. He's still fucking talking. Then I had to go out. Jumped in the car. This leads to my being pissed off with my car. Went into town. Did what I had to do. Came back. This fucking idiot's still talking. And as far as I know, he's still talking. I don't know. But the clips that I saw, the guy's a fucking nut. He is increasingly deranged. Have you noticed the slurring? The slurring used to be occasional. Now it's like all the time. It's like he's got a mouthful of spittle, or something. He's just kind of, his S's are just slurring all the time. I don't know. People say he had a stroke. Maybe he did. Maybe he doesn't have the use of his tongue that he once did. I honestly don't know. I'm just telling you that I notice it. And it's not occasionally, it's all the time. Slur. The when I really noticed it, I couldn't pay attention to a word he was saying. I'm just like going, what the fuck is with the slurring? Is when he had his press conference following his illegal invasion of Venezuela. He was slurring like crazy the entire time. Anyway, he was slurring again today. I'd hate to be in the front row of that press briefing. They should hand out, like plastic blankets for the first row like they do for Blue Man Group. Because I could just imagine those people just getting covered in spittle. Anyway, he's up there just fucking rambling on the same old shit. It's the same old stuff. And which I still can't believe people voted for him for the entertainment value, which they did. It's like it's the same show from the beginning. It's like 10 years of reruns. Every once in a while, he'll throw a new line in there. I mean, he hasn't always been talking about invading Greenland, although he did talk about that in the first term, but not every day. Now he's talking about it every day. So there's new craziness that gets in there, but the old shit never drops off. So he's still talking about, you'll still see him do with the locker up Hillary stuff. The same greatest hits all the time. How is anyone entertained by this? And I don't think anyone is. Even in the campaign, he'd hold a rally and people would walk out like halfway through because they're just bored. They'd scan the crowd and everyone's on their phone, not taking pictures on their phone, holding it up. Ooh, there's the orange messiah. No, they're like scrolling on their phone because they're bored out of their fucking minds. Thank you. Anyway, the first time I did this live stream thing, by the way, in the replays, after I ended the live stream and the video was just up on the channel, you couldn't see the comments. And people were asking me about that. I think I figured out how to keep the comments on. So I'm trying that this time. I don't know if that's going to make for a good viewing experience later on or not. So we'll see. This is all the work in progress. Another thing you guys would know about me if you've been following me for a while, I suck at this technology stuff. So, bear with me. So what else am I pissed about? Oh, back to Trump. So once again, he's rambling on about Norway not giving him the Nobel Prize. He honestly believes that it's the Prime Minister of Norway who hands out the Nobel Peace Prize. And because they didn't give it to him, try to follow this fucking logic. Of course, it's not true that the government of Norway awards the prize. There's a committee. But even if it were true, in his fucking diseased mind, he thinks the government of Norway awards the prize. So because Norway, in his mind, didn't give him the Nobel Peace Prize, he's going to go to war with Denmark. He's fucking insane. And he's president. And that makes me really angry at every stupid fuck who voted for him. And I apologize to those of you who don't appreciate the cussing. Actually, I don't apologize. I just acknowledge that some of you don't like it and you want me to tone it down. Sorry, not happening. Your delicate ears will just have to adapt. Or you could just not watch, but why would you do that to yourself? Don't punish yourself because I have a foul mouth. That doesn't make any sense. It makes about as much sense as Donald Trump going to war with Denmark because Norway didn't give him a prize. Can you just, sometimes you just have to step back from this. We're immersed in it. We're like too close to see what's going on sometimes, or at least I am. You got to pull back and actually just divorce yourself from the situation for a minute and look at what the hell is going on here. It must be insane to the rest of the world. It's insane to me, but it's got to be even more insane to the rest of the world from the outside looking in. We are literally talking about the president of the United States who controls the most powerful military on the face of the earth. And he is talking about going to war with our NATO ally because he didn't get a fucking prize. This is insane. It's full-on insanity. And I've been talking about lately, things like this, God only knows where this leads. We're not going to know how this all turns out until it happens. And I pray to God we're all around at the end of this. But when this is all over, someday this is all going to be history. And imagine if this actually leads to World War III. It could. Think about things that set off wars in the past. This could easily trigger a world war. The president of the United States invading, going to war with a NATO ally. That could easily, and no one's happier about this than Putin, which is why I believe ultimately he's doing this because Putin wants him to. From 2016, he's been talking about this because nobody benefits from this more than Putin. Oh, you could talk about Trump's ego. He benefits from it personally with his, puffing up his ego. No one really benefits more from this than Vladimir Putin. Putin has wanted to destroy NATO forever. He can't believe his luck here, or unless, of course, he is orchestrating this whole thing, which I believe he is. I don't think this is about minerals. Doesn't make any sense. I don't think this is about his ego or being the center of attention, although he's loving that. I think it's because of Putin. He has never crossed Putin. He's never taken sides against Putin. To the extent he's ever said anything negative about Putin, I think it's all just for show. You know, when people are really accusing him, when the narrative is starting to set in that he's doing Putin's bidding, that's when he talks tough for about 5 minutes just to make it look like he's not really Putin's puppet. I mean, Putin doesn't want the world to think that Trump is his puppet, at least not right now. So they play this freaking game to pretend like Putin's not controlling Trump, but I think he is. So anyway, then during this obscene press conference, this rambling, spittle-laden press conference, he's talking about Denmark. He's talking about Norway. He's talking about taking Greenland. Someone asked him, "Are you really serious about this? How far are you willing to go to get Greenland?" And he said, "You'll see." What do you guys think? Do you think he's really going to do this? Because I actually think he is. I think he is. Because think about it. If Putin is behind this, which I believe he is, he's not doing, I mean, look, even if Trump doesn't invade, Putin is helped out big time. Because NATO has not been completely destroyed yet, but it has been weakened tremendously. And it has put a huge rift between the United States and the rest of NATO. So even that, even if Trump doesn't invade Greenland, Putin has scored a huge win here. But if he's going to go all the way and score a complete victory on this, then he needs Trump to act NATO completely. And it could actually have us at war with our NATO allies. Nothing would make Putin happier. And if that's really what Putin wants, well, then Trump has got to invade Greenland. And Trump is not going to be president forever. He's just not going to be. He may try to stay in after the expiration of his term, but for reasons I've talked about before and we'll talk about again, it isn't going to work. It may be successful for a period of time. We may have to drag him out of there, but he's ultimately going. He's not staying. And I will be honest, yet again here, I've told you this. I hope he tries. Oh my! If he is still president in January. January 20th of 2029, hopefully a Democrat had won the presidency. And if Donald Trump is still president, although I don't think he will be. I wouldn't bet a lot of money on it, but if I had to bet, I would say Donald Trump is not president by the end of his term. Something's going to happen. Could be any number of things. Some legal, some not. But I don't think he's going to be president then. But if he is, I hope he doesn't leave. I hope he tries to stay. I hope he pulls out all the stops to try to cling to power. Because I don't want him to just go off and retire and go play golf. And all the MAGAs from here to the end of time, all the Republicans make trips down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss his ass. And every Republican everywhere in the country is introducing bills to put him on Mount Rushmore, to rename a fucking school after him, or an airport, or a bridge, or erect monuments to him. No, I want this to end really badly for him so that nobody supports this piece of shit anymore, or as many people as possible. And I think that's where it's ultimately going to end. I refer back to a tweet that I loved from David Frum. He put it up years ago. He had it as his pinned tweet for a period of time. He took it down. Wish it was still up there. And it was something along the lines of, by the time this is all over, no one will admit to ever having supported it. And I think that's where we're ultimately going to end up with Donald Trump, or at least I hope so. And that's why I hope he tries in vain to cling to power or to do something just horrible that just overwhelmingly turns the country against him. I hope, we have to dig him out from that bunker, that he buries himself down in there in that bunker beneath his golden palace. And we have to break the doors down and drag him out, and that his little fingernails and his stubby little fingers just clinging to the ground as we drag his fat orange ass out of there. I'm sorry, but I've got to check this. Oh, okay. Let me check one thing else here real quick. One thing leads to another here. Okay, we're good. So I hope that's what happens. Great. Now I'm distracted. Anyway, back to, I wanted to make a point here about Congress. You guys know where I was going with that? Tell me in the comments. I was talking about dragging his ass out. Whatever. Back to this friggin' press conference. So he's talking about NATO, the Jeffrey Epstein Memorial Ballroom. Yeah, I hope that's what happens. I hope we have to drag him out of there. Oh, yeah, that no one will, the David Frum thing, that by the end of this, no one will admit to ever having supported it. And I hope that's where we need to get to. And I think we will. I think ultimately Trump and MAGA will be remembered like the Nazis. Like many Germans, they don't talk about those Nazi relatives. They don't put pictures of them up. They're the family disgrace, the family embarrassment. That's what these fucking MAGAs are going to be to future generations of their families. At least that's what I hope. There will be people at some point in time going through their parents or grandparents or even great-grandparents' belongings, and they'll come across a MAGA hat, and they'll be disgusted. And it will completely change the way they remember their family member. They'll be disgusted. My grandfather was a MAGA. I'm ashamed. I'm never going to mention his name again. I think they will be the shames of their families. And at some point in the not too distant future, I believe you're going to see fewer and fewer people will admit to ever having supported this. To the point where we're going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to find someone who says that they voted for Trump. They're all going to deny it. I didn't vote for Trump. That's where I think we're going to get. At least that's what I hope. And you're already starting to see it. And I think you're already starting to see it reflected in the polling data. I mean, you see anecdotal evidence of this all around. You'll see people, I hear it all the time. I live in a real MAGA area. I used to see Trump signs, Trump flags, Trump bumper stickers, Trump urinal cakes, whatever the fuck, all over the place. Now I don't see it anymore. I see hardly any of it anymore. It's true where I live. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, there was this one fucking crazy ass MAGA house, just all decked out in MAGA stuff all the time. They don't have that shit up anymore. Now, I don't live in a real MAGA area. We got some MAGAs in this town, but it's not that kind of area. And I would see some of that stuff. I don't see it anymore at all. And again, even this one crazy I don't go past their house very often, but I don't think that shit's up anymore. Anyway, I hear it from people all the time. They live in a crazy MAGA area. They just don't see it anymore. People have taken their stuff down. So, stuff that's been up since 2016, they've taken it down. I brought you a story like a week ago about the Trump store in, I want to say it was Pittsburgh. I might be wrong about that. I think it was in Pennsylvania somewhere. The Trump store. This Trump cultist opened this Trump store back in 2020, I think. And he shut it down because there's no business anymore. You're starting to see it. And you're seeing it in the polling data. And I'm going to be talking about this more on the Romano Report. But there was There was a poll that came out recently that said, it was last week, and the MAGAs online were very excited about this. That said, I think it like 91 or 92% of Republicans support Trump. You know what? I'm going to fuck this up. So maybe I should wait to do it on the Romano Report. But one thing I know for sure is there was a poll that said fewer and fewer Republicans are identifying as MAGA. That the percentage of Republicans who identify as MAGA is now down into the low 80s or something like that. So fewer and fewer of them are identifying. And MAGA, let's face it, that just means Trump supporters. And fewer and fewer of them are identifying as Trump supporters to pollsters. I think we're going to see more and more of that. Anyway, during this rambling press conference, he also was asked about the $2,000 tariff rebate checks he was promising everybody. When can we see those? Oh, I don't know. We'll see. They're coming. And do you think you need Kevin Hassett, who's one of these mouthpieces on TV all the time for him? Kevin Hassett said that this would probably need congressional approval to give everyone $2,000 checks. Do you think you need that? No, I don't think I need that. We're bringing in so much money from the tariffs. You know, the idea that a president is openly talking about stealing another branch's power and nobody in that branch really says a damn word about it. I mean, there's nothing more fundamental than in our Constitution than the president doesn't get to spend money without it being appropriated by Congress. Not a fucking penny. Here he's talking about giving everyone $2,000 checks because he says so, because his poll numbers are in the toilet and he's trying to buy support. So he's going to give everybody $2,000 checks. Now, I don't think anyone's going to see a dime of that. But just the idea that he thinks he can just do this, or he doesn't care whether he has the power to do it or not, just he knows that Congress isn't going to do a damn thing about it. And here's my point. Why do we even need Congress? You know, we talk about Trump rigging the midterms, and I have no doubt that he's going to do that. I think he's going to. Can't cancel them, as I have explained many times. I hear it so many times, it's driving me fucking nuts. He's going to cancel the elections. He's going to invoke the Insurrection Act and cancel elections. No, he's not going to cancel elections. He can't cancel elections. The elections are not within his power. And then people say, oh, yeah, well, he does a lot of other things that aren't legal. That's not the same thing. I didn't say he's not going to cancel elections because it's not legal. I said he's not going to cancel elections because it's not within his power. Okay. He does illegal shit, for example, with the military. Invading Venezuela, illegal. If he invades Greenland, illegal. But guess what? If he does it, it's because he has the power to do it because he's commander-in-chief of the military. They follow his orders. Now, they should be ignoring, especially the illegal order of invading Greenland. Venezuela, also illegal, but that's a little different. There's at least something arguable that gave them authority. It doesn't give them legal authority, but at least there was something that they can argue. Greenland, there's nothing. Anyway, he's the commander-in-chief of the military. He controls the military. So if he has the military do illegal shit, if they follow his order, then it's going to happen. He doesn't have any control over elections. They're all run through the states. Nobody involved in conducting our elections works for Donald Trump. They don't take orders from him. He can't fire them. He can't tell them what to do. Anyone involved in the administration of our elections is by definition a state or local administrator. They don't answer to the president. Every one of them has the perfect constitutional right, if Donald Trump tries to give them an order, to tell him to go fuck himself. So it's simply not within his control to cancel them. Now, he's going to try everything he can to rig them, I imagine, to suppress the vote in certain areas. Maybe he sends ICE. Maybe he sends the military. Who the hell knows? I have no doubt that he'll try. But maybe he won't. And here's the reason why. I mean, I think he will, but I'm just throwing this out there. Why does he need Congress? I think the only thing he's worried about losing Congress for is because of the investigations, impeachments, investigations. I think that's it. Other than that, why does he give a shit? He doesn't need Congress for anything else. He makes that abundantly clear. He doesn't need them to declare war. He's just going to invade whoever the fuck he wants. He doesn't need them to spend money. He just said, yeah, I could send everybody $2,000 checks. I don't have to go through Congress. What else? He doesn't need their approval. Oh, what the hell is this? Bear with me. Don't know if this is important or not. Okay, I don't need to respond right now. So he doesn't need them to spend money. He doesn't need them to wage war. He doesn't need to cancel spending. That's illegal too. I mean, if Congress appropriates money, God damn it. Give me a little. Oh, fuck. I hate autofill or whatever the fuck. Give me a little while. Not a little hole, a little while. God damn it. Send. Jesus. Yeah, you can see me pecking away like I'm a fucking chicken over here. I suck at all of this stuff. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. He doesn't need Congress for shit. Impounding funds, refusing to spend. Normally, I wouldn't keep my phone with me, but I kind of need to today. Sorry, bear with me. Got to switch to Android. I already switched from Android. I was talked into this. And now I'm too integrated. Anyway, that's another whole thing. Refusing to spend money that Congress has appropriated is illegal. It's called impounding funds. It was one of the articles of impeachment drafted against Richard Nixon. But now Trump does it like it's a bodily function. He doesn't give a shit. Oh, I don't want to spend that. I'm not going to, I hate California. I hate the blue states. I'm not going to give them, God damn it. My nose is itchy again. I'm not going to send money to blue states, even though it's been appropriated, illegal. I'm not going to spend all this foreign aid. We're just going to close USAID, all of this illegal. So he doesn't need Congress to impound funds, to cancel spending. He doesn't need it for spending. He spends money all the time. That's completely illegal. Did Congress authorize? I mean, whatever. Just think about the stuff that he does that Congress doesn't authorize. That doesn't stop him. Seriously, why is my nose so itchy? Oh, because it's the 4 o'clock hour, and because my nose gets it. Let me try it again. My nose gets itchy after 4. Why? I don't know, but it's a thing. You know what else is a thing? I'll give you a little quirk. You ever heard of this one before? When I'm done eating dinner and I get up, I start sneezing like crazy. I have a sneezing attack every night after I'm done eating dinner. Doesn't happen when I eat lunch or breakfast or anything, just dinner. And only after I get up. If I sit there after I eat dinner for an hour and a half, no sneeze, I get up, I start sneezing. The hell is that? We actually looked into this. There's an actual, it's a recognized medical condition. It was only recently, I forget what it's called. It was only recently even recognized in the scientific literature, and they only identified like a small handful of cases. Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. What the fuck is that? And maybe they'll identify this 4 o'clock itchy nose syndrome. Anyway. So he doesn't even need Congress. So is he really that concerned about losing the midterms? Really, the only reason he would be is because of the investigations and impeachment. And maybe at some point he goes, fuck it. I know you're not going to remove me. And even if you did, I got my bunker under my ballroom. I'm not leaving. So maybe he doesn't give a shit at some point about the midterms because he doesn't need them for any of this stuff. He doesn't care about passing legislation. He doesn't pass legislation. What has he passed? A couple shitty continuing resolutions. He, signed just for political reasons the Epstein file release bill, which he violates now every day by not complying with it. And that big, beautiful piece of shit bill but he wanted to get funding for his own personal army, which, ICE. But other than that, what does he care? He doesn't try to pass any legislation. He does everything by executive order. He shows absolutely no interest whatsoever in passing legislation, which ultimately in the long run is pretty fucking stupid, because as soon as we get a Democratic president in there, assuming we do at some point in time, assuming we still have a constitutional republic, everything he did by executive order, policy-wise, completely undone with the stroke of a pen. Pretty fucking stupid. But that's what he's done. And when does a president get most of their, important legislation passed? In their first year. And not just their first year, they try to do it in the first 100 days. That's why they make such a big deal about the first 100 days, because that is when a president has his most power that he's ever going to have, is that first 100 days of his first year in office. He's brand new president. He could say, I got elected on this agenda. And that's when they get mostly what they want. No, he didn't even try for shit. He just pissed away the whole first year in terms of any kind of a legislative agenda. And now he's not going to get anything passed anyway. This Congress isn't going to pass shit. It's an election year. They barely have control of the House. And they really don't have functional control, because you have a few defectors in there on any given vote. So they're not going to pass anything. His legislative agenda, to the extent he ever had one, is done. This year, he'll get nothing done. God willing, the next 2 years, there'll be a Democratic Congress, at least the House, hopefully. He's not going to get anything done. But he doesn't need to anyway. He doesn't care. So why does he need Congress? He apparently doesn't. So I don't know how much effort he's going to put into trying to... He may believe he can cancel elections, by the way. I don't doubt that he believes it. And I hear a lot of people also... 4 o'clock itchy nose syndrome, like that one? I don't. Oh, yeah. Canceling elections. He might think he can. He might think, hey, if we're at war, I can cancel elections. A lot of people apparently think that, because I hear that all the time. He's going to invoke the Insurrection Act to cancel elections. He's going to get us involved in a war to cancel elections. None of that's a fucking thing. I don't know if anyone is open to history book, but we have had elections during wars, some pretty serious wars. Do you know we had an election during the War of 1812 when the British literally burned down the White House? We had elections during world wars, during the Civil War. So, Trump invading Greenland is not going to really give him the ability to cancel elections. Just saying. Doesn't mean he won't try to rig it. Okay, what else? Do I have anything else here? I have to wrap it up pretty soon. Oh, I keep telling people that, Mark. Good. Please be evangelists for fucking sanity. I'm so sick. It's like whack-a-mole with the fucking idiots. I constantly am putting out content over and over and over again. And I know most people don't listen to me. I get it. But God, doesn't matter. It's like trying to drain the ocean with a paper cup. It doesn't matter how much I try to bat this shit down. It's just people get so much misinformation everywhere, and things are said, and I hear it like on cable news all the time. People just say, oh, he's gonna, God dang it. Nope, wrong app. Can they make these friggin' apps look different, please? There's so many apps on my phone that look almost the same. People say shit all the time, and it just gets allowed to stand. Oh, he's gonna cancel elections. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that. And here's what I say: look, the worst possible things, canceling elections, Insurrection Act, whatever. I have no doubt that he would do all of them. I don't doubt that he would round people like you and I up and put us in concentration camps if he could. And maybe he has plans for that. I don't fucking know. But yes, he absolutely would cancel elections if he could. I have no doubt about that. But when people say, they just say it like it's a fact. He's going to cancel elections. Okay. I'm not even saying that's not a possibility, but explain to me exactly how. Okay. You're putting forth the proposition. Explain to me how he's going to do it. And when I say that to people, okay, give me specifics. Go. They say, this is their argument. Literally, this is the argument almost every person gives me. Well, he's done a lot of other things that are illegal and he's gotten away with that. That's not a fucking answer. I've just explained to you. He controls the federal government. He controls the executive branch. He controls law enforcement. Yes, he violates people's civil rights because they're doing what Trump tells them to. Who's violating people's civil rights? ICE. Okay, they kidnap people off the street. They send them to prison camps. Who's doing it? ICE is doing it. Border Patrol is doing it. They work for him. He tells them to do it. They do it. It's not legal, but that's how it's happening. Tell me how he's going to cancel elections when he doesn't control elections. So this is what I say to people. Explain to me how. I'm even open to your argument. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is some way he can do it that I'm not thinking of. Tell me. I want to fucking believe you because I believe the worst about this guy. If he can cancel elections, he will. So explain to me how he will do it. And no one ever can. It's always, well, he's done a lot of other things that are illegal. He's done those. Okay, fine. Great argument, genius. It's infuriating. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons the main reason I started my various channels was to correct all of this misinformation and the bullshit that people believe about the law and the Constitution and just basic facts. So yes, if you're going to say that Trump is going to do X, Y, or Z, give me a scenario under which he could. Tell me how he could possibly do it. You know, an executive order. Don't tell me, well, you can issue an executive order. He issues executive orders all the time. Most of them are meaningless. Most of them are simply ignored. People aren't going to do what he says just because he says to do it. Okay, the states control elections. They're just going to not hold elections just because Trump puts out a tweet or even some bullshit executive order that has no force of law because executive orders aren't law. And Congress doesn't even have authority to cancel elections. They can change the timing of elections, but that would require an act of Congress. But they can't cancel them. Anyway, explain to me. Give me specifics, but no one ever can. They just tell me. You know, just saying he's going to do it, just issuing an executive order isn't the same as doing it. Because it's not within his power. Okay. Anybody got any questions? Can I rant about my fucking car? You know, I hate these newer cars. For those of you who've been following me for a while, you know I have a shit ton of cars. And my favorite cars are my older cars. They just have more style. I like the older cars. And they're just so much easier. These friggin' new cars with all their little luxury features. Yes, they're nice. It's nice to have an electric seat warmer, especially this time of year. I gotta admit, it's nice. But, you know, all these little bells and whistles, those are all more things to go wrong. And you ever try to get one of these things fixed? It's friggin' insane, the cost of fixing any of this shit. And so much of this stuff is beyond the ability of the average, you know, car tinkerer. You know, you could change your oil, you could do some things on your car. You know, the average, most of this shit, it's all computer this, computer that. Most people can't fucking do that shit. You got to bring it in. And a lot of this stuff, you know, your local mechanic isn't going to be able to do it either. They say, oh, you got to take that shit to the dealer. Yeah, good luck. So anyway, my fucking side view mirrors. You know how all these new cars, the side view mirrors, you know, fold in when you turn the car off. And you start the car and they open up. Well, my side view mirrors don't want to fucking work today. Now, I figured because we had snow over the weekend, snow and ice, water gets in there, it freezes. I get it. It happens every now and then. But once it thaws out, they start working again. Nope, not working at all. And they're not even trying to. You know, when it's just because it's frozen shut, you'll see the mirror kind of trying to work and it just doesn't. It's not even fucking trying. Neither one of them. Left and right. And I had to go on the highway today. No side view mirrors. People whipping fucking by me. Dangerous. You know, you can't see them coming up behind you. Anyway, I'm pissed off about that. Now I got to bring this fucking thing into the dealer for that. I like my old cars. My old cars, you don't have to deal with that. Anyway, you got any questions? I'll give you a couple minutes here. I don't have much time. I really got to run. By the way, thank you to everyone who bought one of these. I don't really make a lot of money off of these or anything, but I like, to put a fuck Trump mug in the hands of as many people as possible. So that makes me happy. No, just knowing that there's another little blue bear carrying the fuck Trump message to the world out there. That's the great joy I get in selling this mug. Not in the little bit of chump change I make from it. I appreciate it. Anyway, any questions? What state do you live in? That's for you to guess, my friend. Plenty of clues. Some people have guessed accurately, but that's one of those ongoing things you get to guess about. Yeah, new cars are all disposable pieces of junk. I friggin' agree. I friggin' hate them. The problem is that my older cars, I'm not going to drive this time of year. Soon as they salt the roads, whether it's December, November, sometimes October, soon as they put the first salt down, that's it. Cars are done until the spring. So I'm stuck with the newer cars, the nicer cars that fucking break down. You know what? Another one of my cars, newer cars, it's really pissed me off. The display, the dashboard display with the friggin' gauge clusters. The light went out in the thing on half of it, right? I had the speedometer and the tachometer, the two big ones, and then you got the fuel and the other little gauges. The right side of my screen was illuminated. The left one, dark. You could the needles were still illuminated, but the back panel, dark. Back in the day, if it goes out on one of my older cars, hey, you replace a bulb. Now with these fuckers, you got to replace the whole panel. $1,200. I'm not paying that shit. $1,200 just to illuminate half of my display. That's what I'm telling you. Anytime one of these little things goes wrong, it's $1,000 or more. Pisses me off. Okay. The LED headlights, the ones that fucking blind you. Oh, I hate those. Those should be illegal, in my opinion. They're a hazard. They literally, you could be friggin' blinded for a second or two if it catches you wrong. Now you're fucking driving blind up on the highway because some asshole. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna have to cut it. We could do this for a long time, but I have another video I have to record for the Romano Report. And I haven't done it yet. I should have done it earlier and I didn't. So I'm gonna have to wrap this up. I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy this format. I hope it looks good after, we're done with the live stream and it's just sitting there up there as a video. Anyway, I appreciate everyone who commented, everyone who watched, and thank you for this therapy session. See, I feel better. I mean, I'm still pissed off, don't get me wrong, but I'm less intensely pissed off than when I began. See, so I appreciate it. Therapy session was successful. So that's it. Thanks. We'll do this again soon. I don't know when yet. I'm trying to figure out what I'd really like to do. I don't know if it's going to be actually possible. Just the craziness in my life. What I'd really like to do is have a set schedule where I can tell you these days at this time is when I'm going to do these things. But I'm not there yet. As soon as I have a schedule like that, even if it's just sort of a tentative schedule that I might have to deviate from now and then, I will let you know. But for right now, it's kind of when I have time. So, but anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.